decided to follow workers. I have decided to follow workers. I have decided to follow workers. Labor too bad, labor too bad.
The Dominican leader said many things are happening, also hinting that they have found a replacement for Ross University, which pulled out last year in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria.
The opposition chanted and celebrated when Ross left. But I always knew that the God we serve one day will send back a replacement to us in Dominica, ladies and gentlemen. That is all I will say tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That is all I will say tonight, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show you. This is example of what the Prime Minister and Ian Douglas went to New Jersey, New York, and telling Dominicans that Dominicans has been recovered. I am right here by a tent. These are people who are still in tents, folks. You see we're here. These are people still in tents.
After Hurricane Maria, every single body in Dominica received assistance. Roofs were replaced, renovation onto homes. I mean, free of charge, not 1 cent. Brothers and sisters.
The reason why countries are poor are not because they lack resources. Reason why countries are poor because the corruption of the ruling elite destroys state institutions. And secondly, the money that should be spent on developing human resources gets diverted and goes into mega projects with mega commissions, with mega kickbacks. And the worst part of corruption is money laundering. Money that leaves the country. In my opinion, one of the biggest problems the world faces today is money laundering. Money laundering means money leaves poor countries and goes into rich countries. Money laundering means that despite all the aid given by rich countries to the poor countries, there is almost $1 trillion every year that leaves the developing world into developed world. And when money leaves the poor countries, it deprives that country of resources. It deprives the country of foreign exchange. They end up taking foreign loans, and who pays for the foreign loans are the people of the country through inflation, through higher prices. That's how they pay for the loans. So the poor get poorer and the rich get richer in poor countries, and the rich countries get richer and the poor countries get poorer. So our main concern is to strengthen state institutions. The stronger the state institutions, the less the corruption. And second is poverty alleviation. You cannot have a society where there are only a small number of rich people and a sea of poor people. You cannot have a society with so much inequality and expect that you will progress. Now, this is where we admire China so much. My admiration for China is for one reason mainly. No country in human history has ever taken 700 million people out of poverty in 30 years, as China has done. This is in my opinion, the greatest achievement a nation can achieve. 700 million people out of poverty. The steps taken to do that is what my party, my government is very interested in. What we hope to learn from China and with close contacts with the government, with the Communist Party of China, this is what we hope to learn. All the steps taken to achieve a feat that no nation in human history has ever achieved. Secondly, corruption. Corruption is a problem because you can catch the common criminals, but catching the white-collar criminal is difficult because the white-collar criminal has resources. He can hire expensive lawyers, and the state struggles to deal with the white-collar criminal. So these are the two main things which we want to learn from the Chinese experience, but also cooperation in so many areas. The Western model is totally different. The Western model of development is totally different to the Pakistan experience as opposed to the Chinese model of experience. 30 years ago, Chinese GDP was the same as what Pakistan's GDP is today. And in 30 years, the way China changed itself, that in itself is something which I want Pakistani scholars to study, because it was not one thing China did, it was a series of things. But above all, it was the mindset of the Chinese leadership that decided that they did not want a country where there was unequal development. And all the steps that I've taken, and what I now, talking to President Xi, I found that the total number of people under the poverty line in China, 30 million. The objective now is to, in the next 5 years, have take all the people out of poverty. In Pakistan, this is really what we want. My party stands for two things. One, as I said before, institution building, and number two is taking people out of poverty.